Hi. Today, I am going to tell you about how I lived in one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in America. It's pretty scary a little bit what I had to do to live. Have you ever heard of turning all these lights on? all these Let me just put this one back here. This one looks kind of cool. I'm gonna plug this in. Okay. Have you ever heard of Inglewood, always up to no good? I might skateboard. You know what? I might skateboard in this video. I'm gonna skateboard in this video. And I could not skateboard on the streets in the neighborhood I lived in because it was Inglewood, California. Inglewood, always up to no good. That's what Dr. Dre or Snoop Dogg saying. Dr. Dre, I think, saying Inglewood, always up to no good. I had to live there. I was the only white person who I had ever seen the whole semester I was there, and I lived near the college but wanted my own place. And I lived at the poverty level as a college student. And I lived in some other places that were poverty level bills paying stuff, like less than $1,000 a month. And I was in my very early, I was 20 years old. I was 20 or 21, I think I was 21. Went to Loyola Marymount University, and it was Inglewood that was like a little further away, but kind of close by to the good neighborhood, which was Playa del Rey. And I could not afford to get my own place in Playa del Rey. my own place in Playa del Rey. And so I looked around for apartments. I found one place that had new carpet. It looked sunny outside. And I talked to the lady who was the manager there. She was an African American, and her shirt said Nike with a different spelling that looked like they replaced the first letter with something that may have meant some kind of curse word. But anyway, it looked good to me. I didn't know it was a bad neighborhood. And $400 a month, or $420, I think it was $420 a month. And it was in 1998 or 1999 or 98, 1999 or 98. And I lived in Inglewood, California, the only white person in the neighborhood. Everyone else who I saw appeared to be Hispanic. Every last person who may have been white, I looked at them, Hispanic. You could tell, or black. Now, I rented the place, it looked good. I moved, I looked at the place, said, hey, it looks pretty good. It was sunny out. I didn't see many people out there. I mean, it looked okay. And I may have seen some people. I didn't think anything bad about it. It looked like a good place. I signed the lease. Got my parents to co-sign it. I didn't have much money. I was a college student. Anyway, and I was 20 or 21 years old, 20 years old or 21 when I went there. And I started to move in. I got my stuff out of a storage facility. I think somehow it was in a storage facility that was like 30 something dollars a month. And I had a mattress. With some blankets and a pillow or two. 2 pillows and and blankets. I had an old computer that was okay at the time, but not that expensive. Just it was an IBM, or they may have had Mac back then. It was like the IBM probably, and I'm pretty sure it was IBM, and an acoustic guitar and clothes, and that's all that I had that I know of. I didn't really own much stuff. I left I had like a guitar and drums back at my parents' house in Virginia. I left it in my room. I went in my room in my parents' house but I was in California. That was the only place I could afford to myself. $420 a month, which is expensive for me because I had lived with roommates and had my own room, and it was like $300 a month before that, and another place that was $305 a month. And those were, one of them was okay, and there was another one that was kind of a little dangerous, but a kind of cool neighborhood. But it was like, the living conditions were not as regular as I would have liked. And but it was okay. It was okay. Yeah, I had to share my bathroom in the hallway in that $305 a month when it was above a pretty cool bar, and I couldn't get in because I was only 20. And it was some big bands, some famous bands played there and stuff that I liked. That's why I rented there. It said artists, musicians, and stuff like that, and people like that are welcome. So it was only $305, and I could play my drums loud in there. And the manager let me in. I got to jam with their band, but I didn't really play in live. I couldn't play live at that club. I wasn't allowed in when it was opened because you had to be 21. You had to be 21. I was only 20. I could not get in the club to see shows. The guy at the door would not let me in, but I could live above the place. And I played drums really loud there with a cheap drum set, a cheap little drum set I got like at a yard sale or something. Put something together to play drums, but I was good, and the whole neighborhood would hear me. And actually, in that neighborhood, well, that's something else. This was just going to Loyola Marymount before. I don't know if I got in as a screenwriting or communications major. I think it was a communications major, and I had to take regular classes first to get my degree. And I was in Inglewood, California, risking my life as a white person who was different from everyone in that neighborhood. The neighborhood that Dr. Dre was in, the Bloods and Cryps. They had the Bloods and Cryps there. They had the real Bloods and Cryps. Okay, when I got back to the neighborhood for my storage facility to move my stuff in, I started noticing people like, they were like, man. And that time or the next few times I went back there, it was scary to get in my house. I could not go home at night. I had to, unless I snuck in. I snuck in, waited for people to be away from there, and snuck in where no one could see me. And I had to like try to make my face look Hispanic. I had to try to make but it didn't work. They kind of knew he's white. You know, they knew he's white. I tried to pretend like maybe I was like a whiter looking Hispanic, but and I had this old minivan that I got from my parents. It wasn't that old. It was like a 1990 something, and this was but the back window was broken out because see, when I got it, it didn't have, something happened to the bumper and it fell off. And I tried to back up. No, the back window wasn't broken out yet on it. The side window was broken out. or something. Some window was broken out, I believe. Yeah, a window was broken out, I think, at that point. But it had a good stereo system. It had a tape deck or CD player, I'm sure at the time. And what I would do, I tricked all the people who would steal stereos and stuff in the worst neighborhood in the world. I got a piece of cardboard like this. Actually it was like a real piece of cardboard. It was like this. I'll tear a piece off of this. It was a real piece of cardboard. I cut it or did this. Here's what I did. I tricked them. Somehow, by some miracle, I wasn't that mean. I was not mean to them at all. But I took this, a piece of cardboard, and I put it on the dashboard in front, and I put it right in where the radio was. So it looked like I didn't have a radio. And no one stole it. So by some miracle, no one stole the radio, and I didn't get killed. One time when I was coming home from class or the campus, it didn't hit me that I could maybe die or something. But when I was going home, there's some things that, I didn't think I would get killed. I didn't think I'd get killed. It wasn't that bad. It was not that bad. People have had it worse. Maybe people who live in other places have had it worse. It wasn't that bad. I doubt they would have killed me. What would they have done that bad? Those neighborhoods aren't that bad. Now I'd go in them now and be okay. I believe in God and Jesus and kindness, and I'd be kind to them. And when you're kind to them, they're kind to you. They don't want to hurt a random person. Just be kind to them and they won't hurt you. No one would have killed me. That's what I thought back then, but now thinking about it again, they wouldn't have hurt me. They probably wouldn't have hurt me, but it made me feel kind of uncomfortable. Because I was like, used to being a white kid in a suburban neighborhood. It was like, it was a learning experience a little bit. But now I'd go in that neighborhood and just be kind to them, and I'd fit right in. So, but I was the only white person. Back then I was scared. Now thinking back, I'd go right there now. Now for how I've grown to be a man and be kind to others, they wouldn't hurt you. You just go there and be kind. You just be nice. I wouldn't bring your whole family and, if they're all white and but here's what happened one time. I didn't know what they'd do, but you gotta be nice in those neighborhoods. You gotta be kind to them, then they're kind back to you. They don't really hurt you. My grandmother Noni would go into those ghetto neighborhoods, and she was an artist, and she'd paint them and stuff, and they didn't hurt her. They didn't want to hurt her. And so what happened was, anyway, my parents didn't know where I was. They didn't know I was in the ghetto. It was the ghetto. I think the manager even may have said that one time, of the apartments. Here's what happened. I was coming home at night from a class or a campus, and there were all these young black men around my room, right outside of my room. I may have acted like a white suburban, I don't know why, but they happened to be outside the door to get into my apartment. It was like these outside doors, a regular apartment complex. You go into your room. They had the different rooms, and one black lady thought I was crazy because I had a mattress on the ground. And anyway, I was outside of my room, and there were these young black males, 20s, mid to later 20s, something like that. Maybe younger young men, like strong, in their prime. You would have not seen anything like this, that many black men, strong, in shape, you know, different types of them, but like they were like empowered. They must have been in gangs. They must have been in the Bloods or the Crips, and they were all outside of my room. They're all outside of my apartment to go in my room at night, and it was at night. And I drove past, and I saw them, and I was like, I can't go in my room. I can't go in my room. I don't know. It would have been something wrong. They were gonna do something that night. It was like, you know, the West Side Story, that movie, or like one of those movies with those people in it who are in gangs or something. And I just kind of, I went out of the neighborhood, drove down, I'm trying to think, La Cienega or La Brea. It was off of La Brea or something. And I drove around for a while. It was kind of scary. And I drove back, I gave it some time, and they were gone. So I had my car stereo cardboard that I put like a while before I got into the neighborhood. I put the cardboard in front of my car stereo. You know, maybe I didn't have to do any of that at all. Nowadays, I wouldn't have done it. I was like a scared white kid. But I would have figured out how to get along. I don't know, but that was like a real gang outside there, so I gave it some time, and then I went back, and I kind of went a different way, made sure no one was looking, and got into my room and went to sleep. And that was one thing that happened there. Another thing, this is funny. The woman who lived right next to my room, like there was a wall right here and apartment buildings, and then in this corner there was a wall that went this way and one apartment here. Mine was here, hers was here, and she lived in a room in here. She had so much stuff. A loud stereo system. I've got speakers back there actually now, and I just got together. I had or something. Anyway, I didn't buy them. I'm trying to save money, and she had stereo system, big furniture that was tall, that was heavy. I don't know how she got all her stuff in there. She had been there maybe a long time, or was planning to live there the rest of her life or something. She had a lot of stuff in her apartment, just in her apartment. And I'd see her sometimes, and she looked in my room one time, my apartment one time, which was a studio apartment. It had a kitchen, a bathroom, and one room, and carpet on the ground. And it was $420 a month. And she looked in my door and saw a mattress on the ground with like a sheet and a couple pillows and a blanket and a computer like on a box or something next to the bed or something, or some like a computer and a guitar and just clothes in the closet. And she saw how it was with like a mattress on the ground, and she said, crazy, crazy. She called me crazy. She said, oh, that is crazy. Because I was a college student, because I didn't have that much money, and she had all this furniture and stuff, and like it was like a regular house with it. She had a lot of stuff, and she looked in my place and said, she said, crazy. And you know, it didn't bother me that much. She wasn't mean about it. And then this is something funny that happened, or weird, or scary. There was a Hispanic guy in a wheelchair, and he kept hanging out outside, right outside of my door, and he wanted to come in or something. He would knock on my door sometimes, and he wouldn't have hurt, and I didn't know what he was going to do, but I was scared back then, but he probably wouldn't hurt anyone. And what he did, you don't want to go in a neighborhood like that if you're a kid. You want to wait till you're a little older and adult, and you know how to be kind to them, and he kept waiting outside my room. One time he waited all night, kept knocking here and there, and I would not answer the door. It was like a guy with the shaved head. He looked like maybe he had been to prison, and he was in a wheelchair. And some people, I don't know. And that, anyway, it was a little scary to me, so I told the manager about him, and she said, you know what she said? This is funny, this is what she said. Oh, he's just some crackhead. He ain't gonna hurt anyone. He's just a crackhead. That's what she said. He's just a crackhead. So I guess what a crackhead was doing was he was trying to get like a few dollars or so to buy his drug. He was on drugs or something, some bad drugs that would hurt him, and so I avoided him, and I didn't know, and I had never talked to him. I didn't want him to keep asking me for money or who knows what. And sometimes you just don't talk to those people. Just don't talk to those people. Just don't talk to them when you're a kid. And if you're an adult, be careful, You don't want to really go into a dangerous neighborhood that often. But you'd probably be okay. I was the only white person. I looked for him down the street, on the main street around there. Sometimes people driving through in the main street, but in that neighborhood, I did not go for a walk. I did not go for a jog. I did not skateboard. I parked my car and walked into my apartment, and that's about all I could do. That's about all I could do. And it was Inglewood. I can look it up. It's near Playa del Rey. And I didn't know what it was. I just signed the lease because it looked good. It was sunny out. It had new carpet, $420 a month. I had looked around at different places and I said, hey, I'll get it. It was near my school. And then it turned out to be Inglewood, always up to no good. The real Inglewood that Dr. Dre sings about, where the Bloods and The Cryps are. I can't believe I lived there. I really lived there. And what else happened there? I think that's it. There's some other stuff. I did my schoolwork. I drove to school. Sometimes I'd stay at school and hang out. And anyway, I did live in some other places, but I don't want to talk about it. But there was a time, I don't know if I should talk about it, but there's one time when I had to stay in a $25 a night hotel in Los Angeles, which was pretty bad feeling. It was pretty scary. It's just not something that's great to talk about. And there was another time I stayed in above Al's Bar. I didn't do anything wrong, really. I didn't have a girlfriend. The only person who wanted to hang out with me was some gay guy that was like interested in me, and I just didn't talk to him anymore. At Al's Bar, and some older Asian woman I was only 20 years old, and it was too old for me. She was like 30 something, and for me back then, it was like I was too young. I wanted someone my age. And I didn't party. I didn't drink at all. I didn't drink at all. I didn't do any drugs. I worked on movie sets. I worked on various movie sets as a production assistant and went to school. But that's what I did. I lived in Inglewood, California. Inglewood, always something no good. Oh no, I can't do that. I don't act like. But that's what Dr. Dre said. Dr. Dre. No, I can't do it. I don't want to. I gotta go. I don't want to have a heart attack after saying Dr. Dre. So that's not me. Anyway, that's it. How I lived in Inglewood, California. Okay, bye. Click like in the video. Subscribe. Bye.